The digital marketplace, a battlefield where giants clash. Fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye, and empires rise seemingly overnight. For years, one name reigned supreme, an undisputed colossus bestriding the world of online retail, Amazon. Its dominance seemed absolute, its reach inescapable. Thousands of companies fought for scraps in its shadow, the largest merely dreaming of challenging the throne. Amazon, with its near 50% share of online sales in the US alone, looked unshakable. And yet, from the east, a challenger emerged. Almost out of nowhere, a name whispered first, then shouted from the screens of millions, Temu. Within a single year, this newcomer, armed with impossibly low prices and a marketing blitzkrieg, stormed the global stage, becoming the second most popular marketplace in the world. It spent billions, flooded social media, and broadcast a simple, seductive promise during the most expensive advertising slot on American television, the Super Bowl, promising that you could shop like a billionaire. How did this happen? Who is behind Temu? And can this meteoric rise truly challenge the established order? Or is it merely a fleeting phenomenon built on a foundation as precarious as its rock-bottom prices? Today, we delve into the story of Temu, the digital enigma that has Amazon itself scrambling to react, and now faces a geopolitical storm that threatens its very core. So, what is Temu? On the surface, it's an online superstore, a vast digital bazaar hawking an almost overwhelming array of goods. Car accessories, clothing, kitchen gadgets, electronics, you name it, Temu likely sells it. But its defining characteristic, the siren song luring millions, is the price. Shoes for $15? A necklace for a single dollar? Wireless keyboards for $10? It echoes the familiar model of other direct-from-China platforms, but often pushes the prices even lower, into territory that seems almost unbelievable. The operation was launched in the United States in late 2022 by PDD Holdings. This name might not ring a bell, but it's the parent company of Pinduoduo, a Chinese e-commerce giant founded in 2015 by Colin Huang. Huang himself is a figure shrouded in some mystery, despite currently being ranked as the richest man in China, with a fortune exceeding $48 billion. From its US launchpad, Temu exploded globally. By 2023, its app and website were live across the UK, Spain, Italy, France, the Netherlands, and dozens more countries, eventually reaching 49 nations, including regions in Latin America and South Africa. What fueled this rapid expansion? Temu points to its core strategy: cutting out the middleman. The platform, they claim, provides direct access to manufacturers and brands, primarily in China. It uses a model, partly inherited from Pinduoduo, involving reverse auctions where manufacturers bid to offer the lowest price. It employs a system allowing direct sales between the producer and the end consumer, often utilizing a consigned inventory system where manufacturers send goods to PDD's warehouses but retain ownership and risk, further reducing Temu's capital outlay. This, in theory, accelerates delivery and allows sellers to tailor products to demand while drastically cutting costs. No layers of distributors, wholesalers, or even traditional marketplace fees adding markups. Suppliers ship directly from China, with PDD Holdings often setting the final prices and margins. And crucially, for its US operations, this model exploited a quirk in US trade law, the de minimis rule. This long-standing provision allowed packages valued under $800 to enter the country duty-free. While Amazon and other retailers grappled with import tariffs and fees on bulk shipments, Temu could flood the market with countless small, cheap packages, reportedly over 30% of all such packages daily in 2023, each slipping under the radar of customs duties. A loophole, perhaps, but one Temu leveraged to devastating effect, allowing it to undercut competitors significantly. Even with razor-thin margins, the sheer volume of sales, estimated at around 4 million packages shipped daily at its peak, Temu calculated, would generate profit. But a clever model isn't enough. Temu unleashed an advertising onslaught, unlike almost anything seen before. In 2023 alone, They reportedly earmarked around $3 billion for marketing, nearly double the previous year. The strategy was relentless and multi-pronged. First, the Super Bowl gambit. While a typical 30-second ad during the game costs around $7 million, Temu bought 5 such spots. The impact was immediate. App downloads surged over 50% in the days following the game. While analysts noted this spike didn't necessarily translate to long-term engagement or revenue, the sheer brand recognition achieved was undeniable. By December 2023, just over a year after launch, Temu was the second most visited e-commerce site globally, with over 450 million unique users, trailing only Amazon. Its sales reportedly surpassed $5 billion, with some analysts projecting a potential surge towards $54 to $60 billion in 2024 prior to recent regulatory headwinds. In America alone, the app has been downloaded over 150 million times. Beyond big-ticket advertising, Temu focused heavily on social media, particularly platforms like TikTok and YouTube, popular with its target demographic and offering cheaper ad rates. Their digital advertising is laser-focused, using consumer interests and search history to push a constant stream of relevant, cheap products into users' feeds. Search for kitchen gadgets. Your social media is suddenly flooded with Temu's offerings. They also weaponized user acquisition. Referral links shared by friends and family offered rewards, often free items. Bloggers and influencers were paid to create promotional content. The app itself is gamified. Roulettes and virtual gifts offer coupons, discounts, and cashback, enticing users to spend a little or, crucially, share the app more to claim their prize. And the sheer novelty factor, the constant stream of quirky, unusual, and incredibly cheap gadgets, keeps users scrolling, often leading to impulse buys far beyond their initial interest. This staggering growth, this digital blitzkrieg, inevitably sent shockwaves through the industry and attracted intense scrutiny. The undisputed leader Amazon felt the pressure. While Temu couldn't yet match Amazon's scale or infrastructure, the giant was clearly rattled. Reports emerged of Amazon planning its own service focused on delivering cheap goods directly from China, essentially mimicking Temu's core strategy. The message was clear. The challenge was being taken seriously. But Temu's rapid ascent was fraught with problems. The focus on rock-bottom prices often came at the cost of quality. Complaints about flimsy products, inaccurate descriptions, and inconsistent sizing became common, and specific safety issues surfaced with alarming regularity. In February of this year, 2025, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission recalled a children's pounding game sold exclusively on Temu due to detaching magnets posing a serious ingestion hazard. European consumer groups found numerous dangerous products, toys releasing illegal levels of harmful chemicals like borates and phthalates, sometimes hundreds of times over legal limits, items posing choking risks, electrical heaters threatening fire or shock, cosmetics with incorrect or missing ingredient lists, helmets lacking proper safety certification. The direct-from-China shipping model, while cheap, meant delivery times were often significantly longer than consumers expected. Temu's experiments with sea freight and U.S. warehousing proved unreliable. Amazon's established logistics network and Prime program remained powerful advantages. This disparity reflected in customer loyalty. While one analysis showed Temu retaining over 28% of customers over 16 months. Better than Walmart or Target, it was still only half of Amazon's rate of over 56%. Trust remains a major hurdle. A survey found only 5% of U.S. consumers trust Temu, compared to 87% trusting Amazon. Allegations of review manipulation, disappearing negative reviews, or removing and relisting poorly rated products further eroded confidence. Then came the hammer blow. The very loophole that fueled Temu's initial U.S. surge, the $800 de minimis rule, slammed shut, at least for its primary source. Citing concerns over illicit synthetic opioids smuggled in small packages and unfair trade practices benefiting Chinese shippers, the second Trump administration took decisive action. On April 2, 2025, an executive order was signed, eliminating the duty-free exemption specifically for goods imported from China and Hong Kong, effective just weeks later on May 2nd. The implementation was swift and severe. Initial reports suggested a 30% duty or escalating postal fees. But by late April, the reality became much harsher. Starting May 2nd, a staggering 120% ad valorem duty on declared value, or a per item postal fee starting at $100 and rising to $200 on June 1st. For non-postal shipments, all applicable duties, including existing tariffs, would apply. This abrupt policy shift fundamentally rewrote the cost structure for platforms like Temu and Shein, which had relied so heavily on this provision. Predictions of consumer price hikes between 15 to 25% immediately followed, casting a long shadow over future demand. The concerns weren't just economic. Temu's Chinese origins and data practices ignited intense geopolitical scrutiny. Security analysts described Temu's app as potentially exhibiting characteristics of aggressive malware or spyware, allegedly collecting data far beyond e-commerce needs. Contacts, messages, location, camera, microphone, even activity on other apps. These fears were amplified by the history of parent company PDD Holdings, whose Pinduoduo app faced malware suspensions. PDD's reported relationship with a CCP-linked data entity, and China's national intelligence law, compelling companies to cooperate with state intelligence. This led to a flurry of legal and regulatory action. Class action lawsuits were filed in the US, alleging the app functions as spyware. In Europe, privacy group Noibi filed complaints over illicit data transfers to China. Just last month, March 2025, the European Commission opened formal proceedings against Temu under the Digital Services Act, investigating illegal product sales, potentially addictive platform design, and data access issues. South Korea's Privacy Commission also launched probes. Temu responded by attempting to distance itself, relocating its US base to Boston and registering an entity in Ireland for other markets. Darker allegations emerged concerning Temu's supply chain. A 2023 US congressional report found a high probability that goods sold on Temu were made with forced labor, specifically referencing the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The report slammed Temu for lacking robust compliance systems for the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, conducting no audits and relying on inadequate vendor self-certification. The Department of Homeland Security is reportedly investigating, and UK parliamentary committees have summoned Temu executives. The environmental impact of Temu's buy more, pay less model also drew fire. Critics pointed to the high carbon footprint of its reliance on air freight, estimated at nearly 5 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram shipped from China to the UK. Its contribution to fast fashion waste, excessive packaging, lack of transparency on environmental metrics, and potential greenwashing. The competitive landscape turned litigious. Temu found itself locked in fierce legal battles, particularly with rival Shein, involving mutual accusations of intellectual property theft and anti-competitive behavior, with Temu even accusing Shein of mafia-style intimidation of suppliers. Numerous consumer lawsuits targeted Temu for deceptive pricing and unsolicited marketing. Despite these mounting challenges, Temu's parent, PDD Holdings, reported significant revenue growth for fiscal year 2024, largely attributed to Temu's international push. However, a slowdown in Q4 2024 and compressing operating margins revealed the immense cost of this global expansion and intense competition. So, what is the future for Temu? Even before the recent US tariff changes, the company appeared to be recalibrating, aiming to reduce reliance on the American market and expand elsewhere. The loss of the de minimis advantage in its largest market represents an existential threat to its original low-cost model there. Can it adapt? Can it overcome the significant trust deficit and concerns about quality, data, and ethics? The story of Temu is a stark illustration of 21st century global commerce, hyper-aggressive, fueled by digital marketing, entangled in geopolitical maneuvering, and built on complex, often opaque supply chains. It forces us to question the sustainability of ultra-fast fashion, the security of our data, and the true price of convenience. The promise to shop like a billionaire captured millions, but the final reckoning for Temu and the e-commerce landscape it disrupted is far from over. The battle continues.